the outsourcing, the Nabisco worker fight, but also, what we're doing about it, what we can all do about it, and I think all the people, all the voices in this room can contribute a lot to that. Okay, I think the best way to start is, we're going to talk a little bit about the background behind the outsourcing by Nabisco, Mondelez, the layoffs, and what happened during that process and what happened since then. And then we're going to talk. Anthony's going to talk more about the Nabisco worker tour that's kind of transpired since then, and then the other elements of the broader kind of Nabisco worker-led campaign that's been going on since then. And then we can kind of open it up, have a conversation around that stuff too. So really, the first thing I think that's a good way to kind of jump into it is to talk about who Nabisco really is, because Nabisco is it used to be a company. It's really a brand now. And it's owned by a parent corporation called Mondelez International. And if you haven't heard of Mondelez International through this campaign, you've probably never heard of Mondelez International because they like it that way. It's actually basically just Kraft, but in 2012, Kraft split into two companies, spun off basically the snack food products, kept the grocery products like cheese as Kraft, and then spun off the snack food industry into Mondelez International, which they actually ran a contest within the corporation, a naming contest, and came up with Mondelez, which is basically Mond, which means world, and Delice, which means delicious. So a delicious world that not only makes sense, but no one will ever know what it is, or who we are, or where we're based. Because everybody thinks it's a Mexican company or some kind of other internationally based company. They are still based in Chicago, actually in Deerfield, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. The CEO up until at least this past November was Irene Rosenfeld, who was the longtime CEO of Kraft, and then she went with Mondelez when they split in 2012. So basically, that's who this company is. We call them Mondelez Nabisco. We refer to workers as Nabisco workers because they're working in the Nabisco industrial bakery. But Mondelez is really the entity responsible behind all these board decisions. And their board of directors, who you come to know very well, and their CEOs, plural at this point, are the ones that really made that decision to start outsourcing production and then continue the bad business model and poor corporate decision making since then. So kind of fast forwarding from 2012 when they split, in January of 2016, Mondelez came to our union, and said, we've been investing in this new facility in Salinas, Victoria, Mexico, which is just across the border. I think the closest U.S. city is San Antonio, Texas. Pretty much. But it's just across the border outside of Monterrey, Mexico, which is a bigger city in Mexico, in the northeast of Mexico. They came to the union and said, we've been investing $400 million in a new facility in Mexico, and we don't want to send production there, but we're going to be forced to do it unless you can come up with $46 million a year in perpetuity forever in concessions, specifically from the Chicago bakery. And that was kind of the first indicator that was not entirely truthful. Because why would it have to come from the Chicago bakery if there are 5 Nabisco bakeries in the U.S. where all of those costs they're incurring the same way? So they said, we need $46 million a year forever from the Nabisco workers in Chicago, and that amounted to 60% of their wages and benefits at the time. So they're basically asking people to just forfeit 60% of their wages and benefits every year forever in order to keep their jobs. So we obviously couldn't do that. It was a ridiculous thing to ask. We spoke with our membership, and it was just an impossible thing to ask people to do. So the union said, no, we're not going to do that, knowing full well that they knew we were going to say that, and they had intended the whole time to outsource this production center to Mexico. So this was January 2016. They formally announced that they were sending production of Oreo, Ritz crackers, Chips Ahoy, and other what they call power brands, these brands that generate the most money for them. They were outsourcing that production from the Chicago bakery to the the bakery installation in Mexico, and by doing so, they were going to lay off 600 workers at the Chicago plant. Now, they didn't say they were going to close the plant, but at the time, there were roughly 1,100 people working in that plant. And at one point, and Anthony will tell you about this, at one point in time, there were 5,500 people working in that plant. So I've been in there, Anthony worked there for 5 years. I've walked around there, seen the whole thing. It's gigantic. It's huge. There were only 1,100 people at the time. They said they're going to lay off 600. So if you have less than half of the people working there, 500 people in a gigantic plant, the next step is obviously that they're going to lay off more, and they're going to say, this plant isn't viable anymore, we need to close it and send all the production to Mexico. So we decided right then that we weren't going to accept this, that we were going to stand up all together and fight the outsourcing. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So on March 23rd, following that January announcement, on March 23rd, they laid off the first 277 workers. Anthony was laid off on that day. And we launched the boycott of outsourced Nabisco products, and we decided to start a national Nabisco worker tour. And I think Andrew can tell you a little bit more about that.
Okay, before I get to tell you all about it, I have a couple questions for you all. I want you to think about it. Don't answer them right now, just think about it. How many of you all love Oreos, Big Newtons, graham crackers, Ritz crackers, and Chips Ahoys? Just think about it. Don't answer it right now. Oh yeah, at least just one of those. Okay. How many of you all will work for anywhere between 90 cents an hour to $1.36 an hour? How many of you all will work for 12-hour shifts with only a half an hour break and nothing else? How many of you all will work for a union that's made by the company? Now don't ask these questions yet. We'll get to it. But I want you to think about this. And think about, this is one of the reasons why we're fighting today. In Chicago, Oreos, Chips Ahoys, Ritz crackers, honey graham crackers, and Fig Newtons are no longer being made there. In 2008, they all were being made there. Guess where all those are being made from now? Mexico, either Monterrey, Mexico, or Salinas, Mexico. We lost Fig Newtons first, and then when they decided they were going to do the layoffs, that's when we lost the other 4. Now, to piggyback on what they said, they told us they wanted $46 million from us. That $46 million didn't even guarantee that the 4 others were going to come to us. Right. Those $46 million told them that we would have a shot at getting those things. So we must give $46 million away for a hope of it. That's like a $46 million lottery ticket to win $1. Who's willing to do it? 60% of our pay. If we want to keep our benefits, just say they don't touch our benefits, we would have literally had to pay them $3 an hour to work. Does that make sense to anybody? I'm going to work and I'll pay you $3 just like going to the doctor tomorrow. And basically that's what they want. They gave us a deal. It was, when I think of that deal, I think of good bucks. It was a deal we couldn't refuse. It was extortion at the highest levels. And that's what they would give us. What we had to do is we had to fight. Me, I'm one of the babies that was there. 4.5 years, close to 5 years. Most people there are generational. Their mothers worked there, their fathers worked there, they had an aunt that worked there. And when I got hired, I was trained by somebody who had 32 years. My play mother from there, she had 28 years. And we had a video we're going to show you. One of the gentlemen that spoke in the video, he had 38 years. Now, we all know that age discrimination is illegal in this country, right? Anybody know a company that's willing to look out and look for 58-year-olds and hire them? Anybody? Nobody knows? Now, we know, like I said, age discrimination is illegal, but we know it goes on. Most of the people there, because it was such low turnover, we're in their 40s, we're in their 50s. Myself, I'm 41, and again, I say I'm the baby that was there. These are people who, if they lose their jobs today, what are they going to do? This is all they know. It's not like they can pick up and start a whole new career. go to school for 4 years and then hope they get a good job. We got kids out here, they just graduated from college. They can't get a good job. So what is it going to mean for somebody who's in their 50s? Let's say, for example, somebody who's 59 years old and they get laid off. And we had a couple people there that were 59 and get laid off. They can retire at 62. You think the company's really going to invest 2 years of training them to do a job so they can be there for 1 year before they retire? Now, myself, I'm a disabled veteran. When I got laid off, I was 39 years old. I can find another comparable job. But the reason I fight today is because I know so many people who couldn't find another comparable job, who had kids in college, who have mortgage payments. And granted, I have payments too. I have bills too. But I'm in a different position than they were at that time. I went to nuclear engineering school, so I can, have some other options. But one of my coworkers, this is the day I decided I was going to fight. One of my coworkers, it was 2 days before we got laid off. We were working on this saltines line, and she just comes out of nowhere and starts crying on my shoulder. And have you ever had that feeling where you want to console somebody, but you feel a little awkward because they came to you? She told me this is the 5th time this happened to her. She's been at plants either closed down or moved to Mexico 4 other times. In Chicago, we lost Brock's, and I saw some Brock's candy early today, so I know you have Brock's on the East Coast. Hostess, it's so many that we've lost. Kool-Aid left and came back because what's the first rule of when you travel to Mexico? Don't drink the water. Water quality is so bad, Kool-Aid had to actually come back. They didn't come back to Chicago, unfortunately, but they came back to the United States. But to say that, what I'm saying is, we have to enact our own power because for 21 years now, NAFTA's done absolutely nothing. Congress has done nothing with NAFTA. So what I come to do is I come to help to get us to fight. So for my coworkers who can't fight anymore, for the one who's crying on my shoulder, she's demoralized at this point. It told me I had to fight. I had to fight. I'm a veteran. I'm used to fighting. I grew up in Chicago. All you all have heard about the stories in Chicago. I'm used to fighting. So, I feel like I have to fight for her. I have to fight for the elderly. I have to fight for those who thought they had a job. Like when I got hired on my youngest daughter's birthday. I'll never forget the day I got hired because I felt like this time I had a career. No more going from job to job. Like I worked in every industry. I worked steel mill. I've been a farm tech. I've worked at Sam's Club. I've worked in electronics. I've done it all. You name a job industry, I've worked somewhere in there. I've done data entry. I can't type work for them. but it helped me pay my bills. So that's why I work there. I've driven cars for dealerships. I've sold cars for dealerships. I even sold Avon at one point. Yes, I was the guy knocking on your door. You want to look beautiful than me? Yes, that was me. But I say that to say, I had a way, but instead I chose to fight because it's the right thing to do. That's why that plaque says that all religions believe in justice. All people should believe in justice. It shouldn't be just for religion. It shouldn't be just social workers. It should be everybody. Now we know everybody's not strong enough to do it, so those who are strong enough to do it have to take the lead and bring those around. And that's what I'm here to do. One, to bring them around, bring you all into the fold, because I know you all are strong enough to do it, and to show people how bad Mondelez is. Now, remember the questions I asked you. I mean, people here like Oreos, Ritz crackers, Fig Newtons, all those other products. Honey Maid crackers. I mean, I bought any in the last month. When you bought them, did you check the package? And that's what we're here to do, educate those, to teach them how to read the packages, how to check products. Because right now, this is not a fight for Americans. This is not a fight for Americans' exceptionalism or nothing like that. This is a fight to stop globalization from doing what it's not supposed to be doing. Globalization was supposed to bring everybody up to our level. What has globalization done, though? Anybody, speak out, just speak out. It's not just down to their level. It's not just down to where companies come to us and say, well, we go there and pay them $4 an hour. So if you want to keep your job, you have to take 6% pay cut. You have to start working for no benefits. You have to work long hours. Unions did not fight since 1800s for us to get to a position where we give it up to companies. Now, one of the problems we've had is, over the last 30 years, we haven't really had any labor fights. So we've gotten complacent. We haven't worked. Labor unions have started from a position of, this is what we have, we're going to start here and try to maintain. So companies have slowly eroded what we get because we have to compromise with it. We have to get back to a position of aggressiveness. We have to get to a position where we ask for outlandish things and we settle for what's good for us. And with that, I'm asking you all today to be a part of this fight. Not for me, and not even for the workers that have gone, but also for the workers in Mexico. Right now, we are working to try and bring them into the fold. They make less than $1.50 an hour. Now I ask you, who all in here would work for anywhere from 80 cents to $1.36? Who in here would work for no benefits? The only benefit they have in Mexico right now that we know of is they get bused to work. They have a bus that takes everybody to work. They work 12-hour shifts. We must stand up. We always talk about our moral responsibility here in America. We must show that. Instead of just talking about it, it's easy to talk about things. Let's decide for us to actually show that moral responsibility, which means us as a labor group and as Americans picking everybody up where globalization will get. That means us as Americans truly enacting after because Congress hasn't done it. We have the power. Every time you spend your dollar, you're spending your power. Think of it like this. If nobody in here eats another organ, how would you all feel? You probably live 5 years longer. You probably see a doctor once less a year. You know, be like, okay, he's like, you in fine health. He talks to you on the phone. Hey, you don't have to even come in. I already know how you are. But if they never sell another Oreo, what happens to them? They're a $36 billion corporation. Or at least they were 2 years ago. Now look what they're making about $28 billion. Why? Because Americans have spoken up. May 18, 2017 was their Molly's shareholders meeting. Their stock was $47.96 that day. Today their stock is at $37.89. Why? Because Americans have spoken up. We've gone around the country. I've personally been to about 30 states. And he's been more than I have to talk about this because, one, we're doing it on a grassroots level because we find that grassroots level businesses usually last longer. When you see something over the internet and it gets hot real fast, it usually dies real fast too. If it has a slow burn, it usually burns forever. It's like a tire factory. You all heard the stories about tire factories. Once they burn for years. This is what we want. We want this to burn for years. We want this to be something that is instilled in Americans to check the products. Now, I'm going to tell you 2 ways to check your products. The first is on the label. There's a country of origin on everything that's made outside the United States. It's usually found right above the UPC code. Look at it. If it says it's made in Mexico, tell your store owner, no, I don't want that. Matter of fact, not only do I not want that, call your vendor. Tell them to bring in the made in America product. And like I said, we do this not because we're against Mexico, because we want to bring them up. We want to make it so there's a market in Mexico. 95% of all the products that are coming out of Salinas are coming back here. They have no market down there. Why? Because they're paying less than $1. If you made $8 in a day, would you spend $4.29 to buy a pack of Oreos? We're not talking about something you need to, that you can eat and say you had a meal for the day. We're talking about a snack. Something that goes between meals. Something that you really don't need anyway. Would you spend $4.29 on your $8 you made for the day on Oreos? No, so they have no market. So what we have to do is we have to kill this corporate run to the bottom. And that's what it is. It's a corporate run to the bottom. And Mondelez is the company we're talking about today, but there's other companies doing it as well. Mondelez, we make an example out of them, and the rest will find a way to do it right. And we know that to be the case because as soon as one of them got away with doing dirt, the rest of them already do dirt as well. They all are copycats. Let's take an example out of Mondelez because, again, we must show a moral value. We talk about it all the time, we must stand for it. When we go and we attack countries that haven't done anything, we say we do it because of our moral values. If we could go kill somebody for moral values, we damn sure did not spend money for moral values. We must take back the power of our dollars. Every time you spend $1, you are speaking. Your money is speaking. You know why we can't get good politicians? Because corporations are spending more money than we are. Their money is speaking for them. When we go to the register, we need to be speaking the same way to these companies. Which means telling their manager, we don't want this made in Mexico product. We want the made in America product. Also, a second way to actually check to make sure they are made in America. On the package, there's an expiration code. If you see MM or MS in the middle, it's 2 letters in the middle, you see MM or MS, do not buy. That is made in Mexico. Again, go to your store manager. Tell them we don't want that product. Go to the vendors. Tell them what we want. They have it. If they don't acquiesce, then they'll be gone. And they know that. Honestly, if we don't shop at the local grocery store, what happens to it? It goes under. They are providing a needed service. If we don't demand that need, then they don't have anything to sell. We must take control again. For too long, we let business take control of us. Too long, we let companies dictate what we do as far as labor. We must take control back. We have to. Because we're at a tipping point in history. If we lose any more companies, what are we going to do? We're already at a point where there's less jobs than there are people in the United States. How many people know people that are unemployed and look for jobs for years? We can't have that. Especially when we have these CEOs like Irene Roosevelt, who made $200 million over a 10-year period. Over $200 million, I'm sorry. Now, on that day of the shareholders meeting, May 18, 2017, she had the audacity to tell me that layoffs were permanent, and I didn't get over it, and that she told me that layoffs were permanent, I need to get over it. Now, when we got laid off, we was told it was a temporary layoff, because legally they had to do a temporary layoff, because if not, they owed severance. So they did a temporary layoff, and it just ended up being permanent. But when she told me that, we're at a point now where I'm going back to work within the next couple months. I'll be back in the clinic. She is fired. She's no longer there as a CEO, and she won't be. So I'm looking for her next. I can stick my tongue out there, laugh, make fun of her. Because, but I say that because we fought. We've been fighting for the last 2 years. So now all those people who are laid off will be going back to work. But the job's still not done because one, we haven't had a contract for over 2 years. Two, they don't want to talk any language of job security. We may get all the people back. What happens if they get laid off again in 6 months? And we go through the same process all over.
That's exactly right.
We don't want to have that. Three, there's still not a market for any of like that. Four, there's still not jobs or living wage jobs for people in Mexico. I mean, we need living wage jobs for them too. When one of us suffers, all of us suffer. Just like we all union people, labor people. What is the most important part of our union? The weakest link, right? We must bring the weakest link and make them strong. Same thing across countries, across borders, and across oceans. We must make those strong. If we want to have a strong economy, that depends on other economies being strong as well. Think about it. If our economy is strong, but everybody else around us is poor, it's like if your house. You got a house that's grand up, just gigantic, all that. But every other house around you is basically a shanty. what happens to your property value? Same thing with the economy. If we are rich, if we live in high on the hall, but all our neighbors are suffering, we're in trouble. Even if it's just a situation where we don't have anybody to turn to for friends, for allies. If we have something that goes on, let's say, for instance, China all of a sudden decides they want to fight us in the war. We can't go to Mexico. Mexico's broke. Why? Because we have let them become that way. We have the power to help them out. We have the power to help ourselves out. We don't need Congress. Now, unfortunately, we've been waiting for Congress to do the right thing, and unfortunately, for 21 years, they've done the wrong thing. It's like TPP. What remember TPP? What killed TPP?
We did.
And if somebody says Trump, I'm going to fight him out. What killed TPP? It was the people. It wasn't politicians. It was the people. I've been to at least 6 rallies across the country fighting against TPP. And I know it was a whole bunch more. We won because we fought. Right now, we won our job back because we fought. But that's still not enough. We have to make it so that this model is destroyed. Because, again, it means nothing if 6 months later, somebody else does it. Let's say Nabisco says, we're not going to try that again. It didn't work for us. But IBM says, we're going to do it. Are we going to accept that? Are we going to sit back and let it happen? Because we let it happen then, we should let it happen with Nabisco. There's no one person who's ready than the next one. We must all think as a collective whole. We must all act as a collective. When we say one union, and I know you all are union people, I know you've seen the hashtag one union. We should mean it. SEIU, I went to Springfield just last week to fight for long-term health care. In our state capital. I went down there a lot. Because I believe in it. The fight for 15, I think it's one of the most important fights that we have in labor. Why? Because every time somebody's doing bad, whether we're doing good or not, we're one step from doing bad as well. Because we don't have anybody to hold us up. If they're on the ground, crawling, can they help us if we trip over a wall? No, because they're hurt. So we must, and I mean we must bring back morale. And we do that with our dollars. Thank you. Any questions?
When you say the job you put back to Chicago, how many?
Everyone who was laid off, it was 277 in the first layoff and 91 in the second one, I believe. And all of them either have their jobs back already. We have about a third of them have their jobs back already. And the rest of them will be called back by the end of the year, so it's supposed to be a negotiation.
Close to 400 and then it goes to the rest.
Well, in actuality, only about 400 got laid off because we started fighting from the beginning. Once we knew that we were going to be laid off, we started fighting. We held candlelight visuals. We held picnic outside the plant. And that was just, we actually went to the CEO's house twice and picked outside the house. She didn't show up. She stayed out. She was in the house and didn't come out. Or she was out of town. We don't know.
Her neighbors noticed.
Her neighbors came out. Oh, they came out. I'm sure they gave her tongue back. I'm sure. Understand this. She lives on a private beach on Lake Michigan.
Oh.
Lake Michigan, the second largest lake in the country. She got private land on it. How do you get that? Make cookies. Understand this. She lives 25 minutes outside of Chicago. And she did that to Chicago. So think what she's doing in Mexico. But she doesn't have to even see the destruction she's doing.
And somebody asked me, how do you let CEOs and management in the company know that we're working on it? I mean, like, we do it, but is there a way to, do we sign up? Do we do a petition? Do we do an online anything so that they have some numbers of people who are involved with that?
Yeah, I can jump in on that. So one big way we've been doing it is through social media. We have a Facebook page. You can find us at Nabisco 600 Workers on Facebook and also on Twitter. And something we've been doing there is we post with different partners on social media like the AFL-CIO, different unions, different progressive organizations, and we send these posts or tweet at Mondelez and at Oreo and at Nabisco specifically, so it's messaging right at them. And then even going a step farther, we kind of organize people online to post and comment, share stuff themselves directly on their pages. So, for example, the Mondelez International page, and they talk a lot about their corporate practices and all the goodwill that they do in the world and that kind of stuff. They have 200,000 followers on Facebook. Their Oreo page has 42 million followers, which is kind of funny that 42 million people follow Cookie on Facebook. But it actually, what it really means is that that is one of their primary advertising platforms. I mean, they, even more than television commercials, their big bucks that they're spending on advertising is directly through Facebook. And we've been monitoring this for years now. I mean, they have Shaquille O'Neal, Neymar Jr. who's like probably the most famous soccer player in the world right now. Christina Aguilera. They have these kinds of celebrities making videos about Oreos that they are only posting on Facebook. So these are specifically ads meant for Facebook. And we've been organizing people online to go and comment on the Oreo Facebook wall. Because one of the beautiful things about social media is that it's not one-sided. It's not like you're sitting in front of the TV and it's talking at you. You can actually get involved and say something back to them. So we've had people comment about the fact that they're boycotting, about how they feel about the just destructive business model of Mondelez and the outsourcing. Just writing that stuff directly on their Facebook pages. And that's one way to communicate to them. We've actually seen, so they have another page, the Nabisco page specifically, that they shut down about a year ago. And that had like a 1.2, 1.3 million followers itself. So it was, that's something they built over a period of time. They poured a lot of money into it. And about a year ago, for who knows what reason, they just stopped using it altogether. So I think they are getting the message. One thing that we do have to navigate, that we've kind of been like brainstorming a lot about, is that these social media pages are definitely managed by other companies that Mondelez hires. So we're worried that there are too many middlemen that are getting in the way. They're not communicating that message all the way up the ladder to the CEO, who needs to know kind of what consumers are feeling and saying about them online. But we think if he's a good CEO, if these executives are good at what they do, they should know kind of what's going on inside their own company. So that's one way that right here. So a lot of people have been taking pictures of this. We've been sharing this online on their pages.
There you go. Put your beautiful smile right there, or your scowling face. That's okay too. Put you on Facebook. This was made by one of our members who's an elementary school teacher. Isn't this brilliant? That's why it's all colorful and nice. So she does great stuff like this. But if you haven't had your picture taken yet, Wendy will have your session right over here when we're done talking.
Also, one other way to let corporations know that you mean business, on the bottom of all the packages, you see it, comments and complaints line, flood it. Flood it. Call corporate as, I know this for a fact. Whenever there's a complaint, it goes to corporate. They have a corporate person that handles every one of those. They get mad whenever they get it. You flood it, now they pissed. So you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna go to somebody higher up and let them know, hey, we can flood with this. And then it becomes a topic where the board of directors have to get involved. The vice president will have to get involved, which means the CEO will find out about it. Whether they do something or not, they will know. And if enough pressure is put on them, they will crumble. Because they won't turn it down because they're not real cold. So, but they won't turn it down. They'll crumble, like all weaklings do. Because they fight for power. Their strength comes in the fact that we don't know anything. That we're not willing to take them head on. So they will crumble. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it seems to me another avenue that you need to deal with is to educate some of the worst enemies are the people themselves, who have traditionally in the last 20 years have voted against their own self-interest. They're continuing to do it, and unless that changes, we're going to be stuck with this for a long while. And once we lose in some of the elections, and we lose the judiciary, which is fast becoming a situation. We lose one more Supreme Court justice, and, excuse my French, but we're screwed for the next 50 years. So we got, so, what's that?
Unless we finally get there.
Well, let's not put that on video.
Well, so that's actually also, so kind of what we're doing here today. We've been doing this for almost 2 years, and it kind of started out as we were just going around. Anthony mentioned everything was kind of grassroots, it's all from the ground up. We were rallying outside the plant in Chicago. We were doing different demonstrations in Chicago. We started speaking at UAW Local 551, this big UAW Ford local in Chicago, going around to different unions there, and it kind of started expanding. We started speaking at different, state AFL-CIO conferences, at internet unions, international conventions, going around different states, and really speaking to specifically union crowd and talking about these issues at the time. This all started in early 2016 when it was prime, election season. So we were talking about a lot of these issues, and a lot of it was kind of like, union to union, member to member kind of educational stuff. From there, it grew, and we started the Nabisco 600 campus tour, where we started going around to different universities. I think we ended up going to like 40 probably.
Yeah, probably about 40 universities.
Everywhere, from like USC and Los Angeles to like Kansas and Oregon and Brown and Harvard, everywhere. Speaking of like progressive student groups and organizations that were interested. I wanted to hear about the issues of Nabisco workers in Chicago, around the country. And then kind of at that point, we start. We're talking to different unions, talking to state labor federations, but also now to students and other people. It's kind of growing from there. I mean, you're right. A lot of this is politics has ramifications.
What we must do when it comes to those who focus their own interests, we must isolate them. And then try and talk to them one-on-one and try to get an understanding of where they're coming from, and then combat that with rebuttals that actually help them to understand the truth. Like if we do it in a situation, say you're a die-hard, holding against your own self-interest. If we do it here in this group with everybody around, you're gonna combat this thing. And if I take you one-on-one and talk to you one-on-one and let you express how you feel, and then I express the truth to you, it's more likely that you're gonna change. You have a better chance of you changing in that arena than any other. So we do that. We do that as well. Now sometimes that can become explosive. Last week I got into it with somebody on Facebook about that same issue, but it happens. But it's something we have to go through and teach.
Well, a lot of the stuff that you're talking is right on. Talking about morality, that kind of thing. But morality and truth. Right now, this country are losing. Unless somebody wakes up and we start really doing more than just talking and change that around, okay? I spent my whole life working in morality jail in prison, okay? And the same thing in the hospital. And, if you have your eyes and ears open, you know morality is losing. Just look at the news every day. People now don't even know what truth is. Okay? 40% of the American people don't know what truth is. Okay? 42% of the American people don't even realize that the Holocaust happened. So, we're talking about much bigger issues than just the fiscal puppies.
You know what? I don't believe those numbers really. When people say, I don't believe the Holocaust happened, it's more for attention. We live in an instant attention era. So people will say anything just to arouse your attention, to get you to pay attention to it. That don't mean they actually believe it, just mean they say it. So a lot of times that's the case.
You always judge on what is actually happening. I don't pay attention to what somebody says, I see what they do. Last time I checked, we have a Congress, okay, who refuses to have a conscience, refuses to act, continuing to do that, and we got to get that changed.
Well, the only way we're going to change that is by taking the money out of the campaigns. As long as the corporation can give $100,000 to a candidate, they're going to buy that candidate. If I can only get 5,000, but he can get 100,000.
All corporations are people,
Right,
unless that changes.
right.
Okay?
Which
That's what I'm talking about. I mean,
Citizens United.
you've been waiting
Okay,
for long, please.
I'm interested, not to, divert the conversation all that much, but what type of job are you going back to? I mean, they're not bringing back those lines of cookies, so what types of jobs are all these workers being rehired for?
So, in our fight, we negotiated a deal with them where they bring in 3 new, what they call lines of the future. These ovens were 2.5 times the size of the ovens we were previously using. That's the type of ovens they use. They sit down in Mexico. When they talk about the 4 lines.
Which they said, just quick, which they said when they initially told us they were going to Mexico, they said we have this new technology, these new lines of the future, and unfortunately they don't fit in the Chicago bakery. So they have to go to Mexico. Now, guess what they are? They're bolted into the ground in Chicago bakery. They fit perfectly fine.
They got 1 in and the other 2 they're putting in now. So we will have jobs. They're going to be the same. Like I was an ice mixer. I made icing for Oreos. I made ice for Nutella. Now we won't have Oreos there as of now, but we're going to be fighting to get the power brands back there. Because as long as we don't have the Oreos, the Chips Ahoy's, the graham crackers, the ones that everybody purchases every week, every time they go to the grocery store, we'll always be in jeopardy of them saying we can close it down. And as long as we're doing French products, they can shut us down and it won't hurt as much. So we will always be fighting to get back the power brands back in there.
I guess this question, I think, the way I understood what he was asking, the jobs are there, but how much are you getting paid? What benefits are still going to be there? Whose benefits are not going to be there?
None of our benefits are going to change. We're going to have our pay. As of right now, we don't have a contract. We haven't had one for 2 years, so they can't enact anything unless they say we're at impasse. And at that point, we can go on strike and accept their whole. Right now, under our master contract, which is what it's called, there's 5 plants. It makes up about 4,000 workers? 2,000 workers. It controls Fairlawn, Atlanta, Richmond, Virginia, Chicago, and Portland, Oregon. Those 5 plants make up most of the product that's made in America. We have a plant in Naperville that makes Triscuits. They're the only Triscuit maker in the country, but they're not under our master contract. It's not even any work there. But those 5 plants make up most of the work. And it used to be almost all the product that was made that we bought on our shelves. They can't afford to say, okay, we're going to make y'all take less pay and have to worry about us striking. Because they make a product that doesn't have a great shelf life. It's not like they can make products and say, we got enough product here for 2 years. Don't do what y'all gonna do. Oreo will only last 9 days.
And like Anthony mentioned, kind of one of the reasons why we're at a critical moment right now is because we are kind of moving them in the direction that we've been pushing for a while. And they're investing, $150 million in Chicago bakeries. And with that, they are bringing people back. The problem is we still don't have a contract with them. And the way that these lines work, they can unbolt them from the floor, put them back on trucks, and send them somewhere else. So they can they have brought this stuff back into the Chicago bakery. They're hiring people back pretty quickly. And we do think that they are going to hire everybody that they laid off back within a reason. We don't know specifically how long, but they're doing it now. But the problem is without a contract, who knows? They still refuse to put any job security language in the contract in our proposals. So without any job security language, as soon as that contract is done, they can unbolt that stuff, send it back to Mexico. They didn't take it away from Mexico, but send it somewhere else and say, well, now we need to do it all over again because the reason X, Y, and Z that they made that. Yeah.
So one of the questions is what can people do? And at the Tompkins County Workers Center, we have a group called Community Union Organizers, where people are educating first ourselves, and then we're taking it out to all the other people that we work with, interact with, groups that we're involved with, things like that. So I'm at the Tompkins County Workers Center, but I'm also Loaves and Fishes. So a lot of this information is going to get out to, I don't know, we feed like 200 people a day. So this information is gonna get out to more people, okay? You work with the IBEW, the union members. You know, the union members have families, extended families. So by doing education at a real personal level about not just how this impacts these guys in Chicago, but what's happening to the local jobs and how these things are all tied together. I think that's the real education that can happen and needs to happen. I'm glad to see that this is being videotaped because this presentation will reach a lot more workers.
How much has the union membership increased? Not in your union, but throughout the country.
Union membership has actually, unfortunately, gone down over the last couple decades. With a myriad of factors for that. Companies that are starting up that aren't union shops and fighting against being union shops. The emergence of Walmart. Companies moving to Mexico. The lack of education by unions on what it means to be a union member has caused some of the problems. We must, as unions and as union members, go back to teaching each other what it means, or teaching the younger crowd what it means to be in a union. When I started, I was lucky. Like I said, I was a baby in the clinic. I was lucky enough to have somebody take me under their wing and truly teach me what it meant to be a member of the union and what the union had went through. They taught me the history of our union and what we had fought for, the fight, how we went on strike for 4 weeks for a quarter. They told me, I heard about these things. If you want to go to strike, 4 weeks for a quarter. Well, this is something really going to strike about. This is something to really fight about. So I got that education, but a lot of my coworkers didn't. And a lot of around the country don't get that education. This is the 4th union I was in. This is the first one that I actually knew anything about. Other than people knowing they're in the union because they didn't union was taken out. You know how many people are in unions and don't know anything about them? They don't even know who the union sport is.
So that's why I was saying we need to start educating
We do.
people in unions, build up unions.
We need our students to go out and go onto the floor and talk to people, tell them who they are, introduce themselves, tell them why they need to start coming to union meetings. Because around the country, union meetings become, they have them still, but their membership is, actually people that show up, it's about 1/10 of what it used to be back in the day.
And just one other suggestion, my own personal experience, worked with a lot of local groups, not only Christians, but food banks and that kind of thing. We need to educate the people that are coming for that food. You do a survey, you can check it. A good share of the people that are there trying to get that food did not vote, will not vote, and we need to educate them because if they don't vote, and we can't get union people to join unions and vote, we need to
Sister, the coordinator.
She's a union.
That's right.
So I guess I have kind of questions twofold. You said you had 1,100 employees coming under contract for the layoffs. When everybody's brought back, do you still have 1,100, or have they reduced due to attrition?
Unfortunately, we won't have 1,100 because over that time, we had people that retired. We had about 200 retired, they're not the first.
Okay, so about 900 then.
Yeah, it should be.
And then I guess did any of the other U.S. Shops, did they do layoffs, or are you in good coordination with them to get the messaging out, and you have active drives going on there as well?
Yes, actually on May 16th is the annual Mountain League shareholders meeting. All our local that's on the master contract will be there. Our brother local in Chicago, there in Naperville, which is 20 minutes outside of Chicago, they will be there. And they don't have a fight in this, technically, because they're Nestle and Internet, but they're going to be there because solidarity. When we say one union, it should really mean one union. Unions have their power because of numbers. If we all enact as a one labor union, I don't care if you IBEW or SEIU or National Nurses Association or what. It doesn't matter. We should all be working as one. We should be standing behind each other. Like myself, not only by part of the BCTGM, but I'm also a member of SOAR, which is the Steelworkers Organization of Active Retirees. And I know you say I'm not retired, I know. But I'm a member because they do a lot of good work, and I use them to help me get involved in doing more good work. And I'm not still working, but I can be a part of it because we're working as one labor unit. So that's what we also must always do. Work as one labor union, not as our own union.
Real quick, also the kind of other part of that question, like were there any other layoffs in other locals? There weren't, and that was totally intentional. I mean, they targeted Chicago from the very beginning, and another reason that they did that was basically because they did want to eventually close the Chicago factory, and we have this master contract that covers the 5 locals and 5 bakeries, but Mondelez has always maintained, incorrectly. They're wrong legally, that they don't have to do that, but they can negotiate individually, and they don't have to negotiate with the union on a whole. And as part of that, they want to separate, divide and conquer, target Chicago, try to negotiate side deals with all the other locals, and we just haven't let that happen. I mean, every Nabisco local has been extremely involved in this from the beginning.
Just for background information, the Chicago bakery is the largest bakery in the country. And that's one of the reasons why they targeted us. If they didn't get the largest bakery knocked down, it allows them to take out the other ones pretty easily. So, yes, you've been waiting a while.
So we know that we've been boycotting the Mexican-made products for a while. I have heard several stories that it's been successful. You're getting jobs back. Is there an end game to end the boycott, or will there always be the campaign to boycott foreign-made goods?
For me personally, the end game would be for there to be a market in Mexico with the workers receiving a decent wage. We know they're not going to receive the same wage we're receiving in Chicago. One, cost of living and exchange rate of money will change that. But we want them to have a living wage. We want them to be able to form their own independent union. Hopefully it'll be our union, but even if it's not our union, we want them to be able to have their own independent union.
So the end game of the end boycott doesn't happen until Mexico is taken care of and we're taken care of.
Yes, for me, yes. And hopefully, yes.
There's no official end game for the book. It's like we need this, this, and this, and then there are no lists of demands to end the book.
But I'm not buying anything until we get that.
You still wouldn't buy Mexican-made products anywhere.
Anthony, I'm sorry. Whoever's got
Have you been having any conversations with the workers in Mexico?
I think we would be able to answer that.
Yeah, so we started a lot, 2 years ago, we started really rolling out the campaign, just trying to reach out to some of the workers in that plant via Facebook. And that was hard, but we ended up speaking with a few of them. And some of them would talk to us for a week or two, and then they stopped, or they didn't feel comfortable talking to us, or whatever it was. But we kind of slowly talked to them just online for a while. And then as a part of the Interfaith Worker Justice tour that they went on, they held Nabisco worker hearings at all the 5 U.S. bakeries, and they also held an event in Monterrey, Mexico, at the Telefonistas Union Hall. They're a really good independent Mexican union in Northeast Mexico, the Telephone Workers Union. They held an event in their hall. It was like 50 or 100. It was big. I saw pictures of it. I actually Skyped into it, talked a little bit while they were doing it, which was fun. But they had this big event in Monterey. They took a delegation of people from that event and went to the Mondelez Nabisco Bakery in Salinas, Victoria. But unfortunately, that facility is there are prison walls around it. It's a whole compound. So they went up to the outside, and the only way people get in or out, like Anthony mentioned, they take a bus to work. Well, part of that is because they let the bus in through these big walls. Nobody else gets in or out. So the Interfaith Worker Justice and some of our allies went down there, went up to the gate, and demanded that they get some kind of audience. They wanted to speak with the plant manager. So they got to speak with the plant manager, and they said, well, we also want to speak with the union. And the funny part is the plant manager had no idea. He says, there's no union here. And we have the contract that the Mexican government supplied us, signed by the union. Like, oh, they had no idea that there was even a union there. So it's been really hard to kind of get first-hand conversations going with workers in the Mexican plant. But through some other kind of intermediaries we have, and there's actually, since that visit, Interfaith Worker Justice went in November of last year. Since then, there's been, it's kind of started organically growing itself in Monterey and South Victoria. I recently saw there's an article, it's like Periodico ABC, it's like a newspaper in the area in Monterey, wrote a big article about it, and also about dangerous chemicals that apparently these workers are subjected to. And there was a video that went with that article of, with Mexican workers from that plant. And they were interviewed, and they talked about how, they don't get any protective equipment. They wear their street clothes to work. They don't have gloves. They don't have guns. And Anthony will tell you, you have hairnets, goggles, steel-toed boots. I mean, lots of protective equipment. They have nothing. They say they burn their hands on different chemicals and stuff like this. So we've been in different ways speaking with Mexican workers, but it's been really difficult, and we've had to do it in different kind of channels. But yeah.
So, some of these retailers want you to go on and fill out a survey and tell them how great they are. And I don't know if you've used that tactic, but the ones that are using that, I don't know how common it is in the actual grocery side of the business, but, I know it's very common in a lot of the retail. I just wanted to touch on what you recommend to get to the actual retailers, because like you said, that you can vote with your dollars on the shelf, that's important, but also talking to the retailer when you do that, it's more effective by going on surveys, store managers, they're kind of, especially in the bigger box stores, they're kind of elusive anyways. Sometimes they'll put on the slip, receipt, store manager, and the phone number, so you can try calling that or whatever. Just saying, just kind of what people's experience on talking with retailers about concerns with, hey, did you know you've got these products on your shelves? We don't want these, we want U.S. products.
Well, we did a campaign early on against Walmart, because Walmart had a Oreo cookie of the month or something like that. They had a campaign they were doing with, and hand in hand with Mondelez. So we chose Walmart, and we went to the store managers. And we actually had store manager run out the store once. We literally ran from us. Usually when they find out you're union, they won't talk to you. But I got lucky one day, and I went into one of the Walmarts, and they had corporate meeting there. Now the funny thing is, I had went the day before, and they told me the manager wasn't there that day because he was going to have corporate meetings the whole day the next day. That's what one of the assistant managers told me. Wasn't supposed to. Probably got in trouble for it. That's what they told me. So when I saw the corporate, they had just come out for a break from the corporate meetings. I talked to one of the corporate guys, and he told me he wasn't corporate. Now we all know what the store manager looks like. We all know what the corporate people come in and look like. He tried to tell me he wasn't corporate, so me and him ended up having a discussion. I pulled him to the side. We had a discussion about it, and he told me he was going to look into it, which probably meant he did nothing. But it brought fear upon him. You can see the bullets of sweat on his forehead. So as long as we're putting pressure on it will get to the people that needs to get to it. Now, again, you call them up today and never do anything else again, yes, it's not going to mean anything. But if you call today, call tomorrow, call that third day, yes, it will bring something to it. Yes.
So our folks went to Weddings and Tops some time ago just to look and see what's on the shelf. And it's you really got to look at that label, because one package is this big made in the US, one package is this big made in Mexico. You gotta look, there's different flavors and made in different places. But when we had some conversations with management, they said, well, it's not up to us, somebody else comes in and does the shelving, and you have to talk to headquarters. So I called, Wegmans is a chain here based in Rochester, out the road about 2 hours. It's pretty big in this area. In fact, I think they got this up. So I was told by a lady who talked to me a long time from their kind of PR department that basically, it's the line. We just provide consumers with choices. We don't make moral choices for the consumer. It's up to the consumer to make the choice. Because my choice is, I don't think cigarettes are good, and you don't think booze is good, and you don't think, milk is good, and so basically we don't do any of that. It's up to the consumer. Actually, she did say the only thing we've ever pulled from the shelves is cigarettes from Wegmans. They made a decision in corporate just on their own. They didn't want to sell something. But anyway, so that was interesting. Like they were saying, if you vote with your dollars, exactly what you're saying, then you pull it. But it was just, there was like no way that they were going to listen to, we think this is a moral issue.
Because
You get it right back to us.
they're not gonna act unless they're forced to.
Yeah.
They're not gonna act unless they're forced to. As long as, it's like this, Nike has a horrible reputation, we all know. But we keep buying Nike, so why would they change what they do? If you think I'm a bad person, but you keep spending your money with me, you must think I'm really a nice person. When we talk about people saying things that not acting that way, if you keep spending money with me, your money says I'm a good person. You may say I'm a bad person, tell all your friends I'm a bad person, but you keep spending your money with me, you're telling me I'm a good person. So we must use our dollars to actually say what we mean. Yes.
Been talking a lot about the kind of bottom-up solutions that have been tried and true and tested throughout human history, boycotts, these sorts of things. We also talked about the slow burn and how long that takes. And one of the PowerPoints that corporations have is they have the power to outlast you forever. And so that's where the weakest link is. So you can't just go from the bottom up. You have to work from the top down. And I'm wondering what you've done, how you've done it from the top down in terms of the negotiations. It seems to me, I'm looking at your facts list. I'm looking at number 4. I see something sitting right here that's a possibility for you. It says that Nabisco took $90 million in subsidiaries from the lowest taxpayers for 20 years. Now, a lot of these tax abatement deals are 10 years, 20 years, 25 years, or 30 years. They go in those increments. So I don't know how long this one is for. Let's just, for the sake of the argument, say it's 30 years, all right, or 25. They're pulling out prematurely, okay? And when these contracts were written, and some of the people that wrote these contracts are still around. They haven't really gone into it. They may be out of office, but the people that know the chapter and verse and the spirit of the law that the public servants at that time, elected officials, they're still around, okay? You need to have these original contracts gone through 5 times with a fine-tooth comb and see what they've lived up to, their obligations at the time, which predates this new corporate model that they have. They're still liable for that. They were supposed to bring in a certain amount of tax revenue after the fact. They were supposed to have an impact on real estate. They were supposed to have an impact on education. They were supposed to have an impact on zoning, all of these things. Were they all lived up to? Yes or no? What is the economic impact of that? That can be evaluated.
Unfortunately,
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. That can be evaluated. You get your union to partner with the city. You find out what is the gap. You said that you want to see outrageous or audacious things that you can do instead of having these plans to you. I'll tell you something that's audacious. This $90 million, say we want 60% of that $90 million back as our city. And you guys partner with the city. You assemble a team and you sue these guys. Okay? And just like they knew they weren't going to win with the 60% against you, you know you're not going to win. You're not going to expect to win. But you're going to scare the crap out of them. And then what you do is you say, we're going to get those other 5 bakeries involved at $90 million a pop in subsidiaries from all those other different cities, and we're all going to sue you. Okay, so that, you're talking $450 million, $500 million worth of risk. They have to be in litigation for years, which is going to cost them tens of millions of dollars a year to litigate that. Right? Right. So then you're in a position to say, oh, well, why don't you just give us some benefits and contracts and pensions, and maybe we won't sue you so bad. And plus, give us a premium for our pain and suffering and pain in the ass to cost us so much. That's what I would do.
Okay.
If I was gone.
Unfortunately, the $90 million was a 15-year deal. They did fulfill that. As far as doing that, we have worked with cities across the country and also the schools across the country through their city councils to actually stop procurement through the states and through the cities, through colleges, of their products being sold. Like some of the colleges, well, you actually can answer this better than I could.
Yeah, so, yeah, Anthony's right. The $90 million they got from the city of Chicago in tax subsidies is, I think, we've looked at how we could interrupt that, and I don't think that's, I don't know the specifics, but that's a good point. We should definitely look into that. But you've absolutely, I mean, all these things that you're talking about as far as threatening them with very expensive lawsuits, with their relationships with cities and counties and states, we've absolutely been doing that in Chicago and not only just where the other locals are, but really everywhere. From 2 years ago, we had relationships with the alderman and city councilman of Chicago and the ward that contains the Nabisco bakery, the 13th ward, with the Chicago Federation of Labor. They're close with Mayor Rahm Emanuel. We've gone down that path. The Cook County, which is the county that encompasses the city of Chicago, the Cook County Board Commissioner, Chuy Garcia, we have a strong relationship with him. Immediately, I mean, I think it took days, Chuy Garcia and the Cook County Board, they passed a resolution that said Cook County public funds will no longer be used, in procurement to buy Nabisco products made in Mexico. Can't stock vending machines, can't do this, can't do that. It took a lot longer, it's a lot more complicated to do that in the city of Chicago, but we did that as well. We had our friend in the 13th ward, the alderman, propose that resolution. It went through the Chicago City Council, and they passed a resolution to not buy in Chicago public city buildings, whatever it is, vending machines, cafeterias, to not buy Nabisco products made in Mexico. Stuff like that passed in Houston, in Atlanta, on the county level in Bergen County, New Jersey, in Portland, Oregon, in a lot of different places. And then we actually replicated that model. We mentioned the Nabisco campus store, we're going around the universities talking to student groups. One thing we talked to them about was, you as a student have power inside of your university. And your university has and spends a lot of money. So we had them draft their own student-written resolutions that they then sent to their university administrations, university procurement offices, saying, we as students don't want our university spending our money, our tuition money, on these products that are exploiting people all over the world. So, and that, those resolutions passed at University of Oregon, at USC, at Penn State, and at a few other colleges. So all this kind of background, not background, but the kind of working with local city, county, state governments, that threatening lawsuits. Also, just kind of even farther in that direction. From the very beginning, we knew they were targeting Chicago, and they were targeting the 1,100 people that worked in the Chicago bakery. And we found, and Anthony mentioned this, it was a older group of workers. It was majority over the age of 40, or I forget what the specific numbers were.
70%. 70% of the workers were either over the age of 40 or minority or both. So we filed 440 EEOC charges.
They've had to mitigate a lot of that stuff. So it's been costing. This campaign has cost them an incredible amount of money. So, and that's even without looking at, we follow very closely their earnings reports, see how they're performing in North America. And I can tell you, for the last 8 quarters, they've been losing, the revenues have been going down consistently in North America. They actually just came out, was it yesterday or the day before, with the Q1 earnings report for 2018. And their North American revenues are down another 1.3%, or $20 million that they've lost in sales of Nabisco products, just in this quarter. So, and they of course, they never acknowledge that. They always say that this earnings report is positive for these reasons. They don't talk at all about the negative stuff. But really, the only place that they're consistently losing money is North America. And North America consists, 25% of their revenues come from this region. So if you're really devastating a quarter of their entire global corporate business, they have to acknowledge that. And we think that they did. They'll never say that to us. They'll never say that publicly. But when they have a long-time CEO whose whole business model mentality was always, we need to cut costs. We need to boost our bottom line profit margins, not our top line actual sales. And they say after a period of losses in North America that maybe it's time for her to retire. And they bring in this guy Dirk Vanderput, who was a Belgian guy, he was the CEO of McCain Foods in Canada. They actually made French fries for McDonald's. But he's well known in the industry as he's a top line growth guy, which means he's a production guy. He wants, he focuses on revenues and sales and actual production, and not the bottom line cost cutting stuff. So that in and of itself, we took that as, they're in some ways they are acknowledging that we're costing them a lot of money, and their actions are showing it. So really, it's just a matter of following all the way through and getting them to really change their practices, this kind of Mondelez model of outsourcing and cutting.
Also, as far as threat of suing, that's one of the reasons why we're getting our jobs back. They decided for 6 weekends, they were going to bring in scab workers from Tennessee to come clean up parts of the bakery instead of giving that overtime to the workers in Chicago. Well, we threatened to sue them for that, and that's when they came up with the deal of we'll bring back everybody. Because technically, I was no longer on the recall list. My recall rights had expired. They ended up bringing back everybody, no matter how much seniority they had, back onto the recall list because of the threat of the suit. So we are working both legally and grassroots and any other way we can. We must hit them from every angle possible. And we understand that. We truly do. Yes.
So you said that North America is 25% of their market share. Are there bakeries in Europe? So again, are they union? Are they kind of involved in this type of communication?
Okay, you want to hate Mondelez? I'm gonna tell you a story so they can hate. Okay, Cadbury. Everybody knows Cadbury. They asked me for Christmas. Cadbury had 2 plants in the London area. When Mondelez went to buy them, Parliament said they had to keep the plants there. They bought them, and 3 days later, the plant don't move. They ended up moving to Bahrain. The actual plant actually opened up 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
In Bahrain?
In Bahrain. Bahrain is not horrible as far as labor. They actually can form independent unions there. We work, when I say we work with everybody, we work with the IUF, which is the International Union of Foods. They're basically the AFL for international food, for food companies across the country world. And I got a lot of information about Bahrain and how it, as far as their workers' rights there. They're not as bad as we think. Because we think the Middle East, she told me that they're a lot better than most Middle Eastern countries. But the problem was, Cadbury had been there for over 100 years in those plants.
Yeah.
It is a English tradition. How do you take it out of England and take it somewhere else? And then sell it back to England, because England, outside of Easter, nobody buys Cadbury anywhere in England. Mondelez owns Toblerone. You ever heard of Toblerone? Yeah. There's a campaign now in England going on because Toblerone bars used to be this big and had little wedges in there. They were this big. those wings are this big and the candy bar is this big. So they have a campaign going on against them now. Like I said, if you want me to hate Molly, I can tell you all the stuff they do. But we are fighting them at every level, and outside of the United States, they have fights in Europe. Their sales in Europe have been pretty flat. Here, what, in 2017, they what, 12.5% loss?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, they lost 12.5%. So their sales are going down here. And their excuse they always tell us is, well, people are turning over to more healthy snacks. The only problem with that is, Nabisco makes healthy snacks. Triscuits are a healthy snack. Good things, wheat thins, those are all healthy snacks. Why haven't they seen a raise in those sales in those? Why are those sales still flat? If the problem is they're going with healthy snacks. Belvita, which was the first line I actually worked on in the plant. It's supposed to be a healthy energy bar, energy biscuit, I'm sorry. Those sales have not risen since this campaign started. Why? And that's a question we must ask ourselves when they tell us, oh, it's because they moved over to healthy snacks. No, it's not. It's because this campaign is working. Yes, sir.
What do you want us to do?
What I want you to do, I want you to be boisterous about this. Because we're in an each one teach one phase. So I want you to tell your neighbor, tell your coworker, tell your members in church. If you go to the club, I want you to use this as an icebreaker to tell girls when you meet. I don't care who you tell. If you got a neighbor you hate, tell them about this. That way, annoy them, but give them some information at the same time. I want you to talk to people and let them know what's going on. I want you, when you go to your grocery store, to check your products. And not just for this, I want you to get in the habit of checking the products. Making sure that you are buying from companies that actually are doing something for your community. Too often we buy from places like, we go to Walmart and say, and I use Walmart a lot for my table. We go to Walmart and we say, oh, we go to Walmart because they're the cheapest. Walmart hasn't been the cheapest since they used that rollback there. You know they don't use that anymore. Once they get you in the habit of thinking they're the cheapest, they have it. Walmart's prices are as high as everybody else's now, but everybody thinks they're cheap because at one point they were, when they were trying to get your business. We must start spending money with companies who are actually good for us. When we talk about voting against our own interests, we need to be spending our money with our interests instead of against our own interests. Because that means more than even voting against our own interests. We do it every day.
This is a quick one. Nabisco, do they allow you to put getting made on your union product?
No.
Is that just so I can understand, because I'm not in that type of business, is that something we have to negotiate?
I don't think there's any kind of, a lot of like our products have our ECTGM shield on them.
Yeah.
And this,
So that would
as far as I know, they don't have it, right?
I think at one point they used to, and I think when Kraft bought the company, they took it off. Understand this, when Kraft bought us, we were the only union shop Kraft owned. Kraft stopped believing union shops. They don't believe in dealing with unions. They say they're hard to deal with. I'm not apologetic for that. If you're not giving me what I need, I'm going to be hard to deal with. Was that? Yes.
I really appreciate the connection you made with Mexican workers and how you tried to kind of create a win-win situation as opposed to part of the problem that we have is that we're in competition with other workers,
I agree.
and particularly immigrant workers. I know in the construction trades there's a difference of opinion both in the leadership and in our membership about how to interact with immigrant workers who are competing for jobs. You know, I know we just lost a big job here because of the university used a subterfuge to get around our contract with them. And amongst the workers, many of them were from out of state. There were Hispanic workers, and you know, like I say, some people look at it like they're just workers, we should just try to organize them into our unions or try to educate them about the issues of why we're opposed to workers from out of state coming to take what should be our jobs. But other members feel like, that's, they're just taking our work away. And I'm wondering if amongst your membership you had the same kind of difference of opinion, and whether you were able to kind of help people understand the analysis you have, that until we're all raised up,
Fortunately, we didn't have that type of problem really, because we have a high Hispanic population in the plant, so we didn't have that problem. Actually, one of our coworkers actually has a cousin that works in the plant, so we didn't have that type of problem. But understand this: you know how the rich actually get rich? By the poor spend their money fighting the poor. If we spend all our money fighting each other, and we spend it with them, when we go buy a gun to go stop some poor person from robbing a house, we're poor to stop somebody else poor. And guess who we gave our money to do it? Somebody who's rich. That's how the rich get rich. We must stop fighting each other. Once we stop fighting each other and actually fight our real enemy, we'll be okay.
So if folks are ready, we have an action if you want to join us. We're going to throw this out tonight, see if folks are available. Anybody available on Sunday? This coming Sunday, May 6th? After church, about noon? Because a couple months ago on a really cold day, Bill Andre here from the local Bakers Union, and some of us from Labor Religion, went around and did some leafleting in front of grocery stores. Wegmans, Tops, Walmart, and even Rite Aid, because they sell cookies and crackers too. And interestingly enough, they didn't really kick us out. It was great. We got the leaflet for about an hour with these great little palm cards that you guys can pick up a lot of them, like Anthony's saying, give them to everybody you know. But if you'd like to, if you'd like to join us, it's kind of fun, and people will say things like, "Oh, Pete, that's great. I'm glad to hear that," or "I won't buy them," or "I'm on a diet. I can't buy them anyways." And they say, "That's all right. You're still with us. It's okay." And sometimes it's people that might be from some different political opinions than you or than me. Who knows? It doesn't matter. But they're hearing us and they're saying, "Yep, you know what? Whether it's a question of America, I want to support American workers, or I don't want to hurt Mexican workers, or I'm a union person, or whatever it is, people are hearing us." So if you're interested, I'm just going to pass around this little fact sheet. We meet down at my office at Cafeteria. This is just down the block here at West Buffalo Street. And kind of reconnoiter there and gather our forces, and then we divide up and go and have a good time. It'll probably be warmer than it was in February when we were out there doing this one Saturday. But it might kind of fun. It's just a little interaction, and it's fun to see if you can get away with it, because we were really pleased that management didn't. They just let us do it. It's not. The guys with the carts saw us going in and out. The folks doing the moving the carts in and out and all that. So. We'd love to have you join us. And so just one way to get some consumer education out there.
Anthony? Yes. Yeah, a couple things. And this is the second time I've heard this presentation. I want to thank you because somebody else just mentioned it. You nailed it, because I've had some people have conversations with me asking me what I have against Mexican workers. And I've always told them absolutely nothing. I have a problem with companies exploiting. So I appreciate how delicately you put that out.
Thank you.
And the other thing I want to say is how proud I am to be a baker, how proud I am to be BCPGM. Our international staff, starting with President Turkey, they're second to none. And when our international puts their effort out there with all their heart and all their soul, and I'm sure President Turkey has lost a whole lot of sleep in the 2 years over this. And Steve Bertelli and all the guys, they've done a fantastic job. You guys have done a fantastic job. And I just want everybody in this room to know how proud I am to be a BCPGM member, a BCPGM business agent. And I really appreciate you guys coming to do this, because Can't ever sell yourself short.
Oh, God.
Before we close?
I have a question, are you gonna go back? Or do you have a job there?
You know what? No,
No?
I will be going back, only because I hate job hunting, but I don't plan on staying, honestly. My passion, I found my passion, it is in activism. We want to do it in some form, either whether it be in labor or whether it be in social justice, or it be both. Because usually both of them intertwine. I do a lot of activism in Chicago now, so.
And you as well, I mean, we need young folks that are passionate and actually good.
Yeah, young folks.
Look around, I don't think they've done it too many people. Younger folks, okay?
Like, I've had 3 foot surgeries on my right foot and 1 on my left.
I know the same thing.
When I wake up in the morning, I feel old every morning. Trust me, the pain hurts.
Couldn't tell. But thank you so much. Just amazing to hear your story and the brilliance of this organizing, the strategy behind it, and the way that you're making it about more than just yourselves, a broader question about outsourcing, about worker justice, and that it's something we can all do. In fact, at the breakfast that we do every year on a social concern, when we show the film, when we talk about this boycott and other kinds of issues, it was exactly about that ethical consumption. How we vote, what we do with our dollars is how we vote with our dollars. And that's how we build a world that we want it to be. So it's all, comes full circle. That was our theme as well. So, thank you so much. So folks,
Thank you.
lots